All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I got another watch list for you, and the stock market is going to go crazy this week. Last week, we were responding to hot PPI data, hot inflation data, the Fed speakers. They brought back the odds of 50 basis points, and we've kind of been chilling here in February, but now for this week, we're getting the Fed minutes. You're getting PCE as well as GDP as well, too, and this data now after last week, there is a good chance it is going to be moving things. So, Chad, we have a lot that we're going to go over. It's going to be fairly simple. It is a short week, and if you weren't aware, the futures have already been open. So, even though it's President's Day, shout out to all the presidents there. Even Biden went to go visit Kyiv, but you're seeing it right here. The futures did not do much. How we closed on Friday, remember, that was a day of pre-market being bad. And then we sold off and kind of did nothing all day, only to end up in the same place. Well, we're going to be resuming that this week. You're getting manufacturing data tomorrow. And then after all of that, we are going to be getting into this schedule as well as earnings. So, Chad, I got everything for you. I got the plays. I got the keys, the recap, all of that. I even have a pretty picture for you because, again, coming into this week after that weird level of new volatility based on 50 basis points, what you'll notice is that the market is not as optimistic as it was a couple weeks ago, but it's definitely not as bad as what it was in October. But now a lot of people, from Michael Wilson to just anybody worried about the rally, they are pointing out now how after this earnings season and as we start to wrap it up this week, you're noticing that forward EPS growth has hit in a zero, and anytime that has happened in history, we have ended up going down. So we'll talk about this more on stream tomorrow. I'm going to be selling this one for a couple of likes, but we have everything we need to go over all of that. It is game time, Chattadonia, but don't let me get ahead of myself, okay? We missed this last week because the holidays. We have another, or no, it was just the Super Bowl. But we have the holidays now. This is the random account generator. What we ask on this watch list, you post a random option trade, keep it below $100, post the strike price, expiration date, all of that good stuff, and we are going to do a random comment picker in the morning and select a play. So thank you for contributing. It's been an interesting road. It's been you could see it here. Last week, after the gold and the dollar plays came back down, I don't know why I'm even speaking like this. Okay, run it, baby.
Working to the couch, it's the 2020 legs. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
But right off the bat, I'm already excited about it. I gave you the whole list. I hope I can make it simple here, but this week you're getting the minutes on Wednesday, PCE on Friday, and then in between, we're going to hear from a ton of different Fed speakers, and we saw what happened last week. If you wanted to blame anything last week, there was that hot PPI data. Don't forget about that, but really it was Loretta Mester and James Bullard. They kept bringing back the talks of 50 basis points, so we got to watch out for that, but on top of all of it, you're going to be getting GDP data, consumer data like personal spending, and then even tomorrow morning, we will be getting manufacturing data, so this is just really going to set the stage. I think everything from like GDP to manufacturing, that's going to kind of add to fear or take away from it. But in all reality, minutes, PCE, and those Fed speakers, these are probably going to be your main event. So like I'm saying, it should be an exciting week, but it's pretty simple because besides that, you're just going to be getting some more earnings from HD, Walmart, and NVDA. Still a decent amount of companies, but now after this week, we should begin to start wrapping up earnings season, and then we'll really see how the market is going to move. But the final thing I want to give you is just, it's quite simple. After what we witnessed last week, it's getting pretty clear here that the Fed futures will be having the biggest effect. And what's going to make that move? It's going to be the minutes, and it is going to be the PCE. But now coming into PCE tomorrow, or excuse me, on Friday, it is already expected to be a hot number. So if you remember, I want to say it was the PPI or the CPI data. They revised it right ahead of the meeting, and it came in hot, and then the market didn't go down as you would have expected. Well, watch out for the PCE to do the same thing around here. If people start anticipating and bracing for it, we might watch the market move ahead of the event, and then by the time the event arrives, well, then the market's just going going to chill out there. So other than that, though, it is a very simple week. That's all I have written down here because it's going to be about the data. We are going to be seeing sentiment. There was a couple of things, again, President Biden visit Ukraine. There was another thing there with us meeting even with China and talks of Chinese tensions and all of that. But surprisingly, it was a fairly quiet weekend, and it seems like everybody on Wall Street is pretty content just leaving right where we left off on Friday, getting in the data, and then going from there. So I hope you're ready, but let us get into the plays. So, right. Oh, I didn't even show. Was I not even showing you this? Oh, I was scrolling through it. Yeah, but I had all of this here. That's the futures. Oh, man, they got me. But right off the bat, ladies and... Oh, that's a horn, too. Oh, man, I'm all over the place. But right off the bat, Disney, they were down since their last earnings peak. If you've taken a look, they had the Ant-Man opening day, and I'm pretty sure it was the biggest Hollywood release so far of this year. So we're going to see how it plays out. But if we do get any upside today, this has been a name I've been keeping in mind just because they were at 118, not too long ago. So they're falling below that earnings peak. They definitely still got a lot of gains there from earlier, but I didn't like getting trapped at 111. I think 105 to like 100, this could be a good pickup price. So going to be watching those. I think that'll be a good one. That is play number 1. Then play number 2 now, BABA, NetEase, and Baidu, and I think these ones are going to be fascinating. I'm still in them, but in a weird way, it's like I really like them, but I'm also really scared about them. And essentially, on Friday, you had a big banker disappear. He managed one of the largest wealth funds in China. He went missing. People were worried about him, and it started to bring up talks of maybe there's going to be another crackdown by Xi Jinping. And then over the weekend, you also had a bunch of ultra bullish guidance out of all the big banks. I think it was like Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley. They're pretty much saying they expect China stocks to really carry in the second half of the year, and that they're thinking that they're reopening yet. You have not seen all those effects, and now people are getting bullish on that. So hopefully you see where I'm at. It's like you got bad short-term news right around the corner, but nothing's confirmed, and then you could also just start to get some of the animal spirits at everybody saying buy the dip in China. So gonna be watching those. I'm still in BABA and NetEase. I'm down on those. I flipped out of my JD or my Baidu, and I might be wanting to get back into that. It just all depends on the price. And then all of these, they all have their own separate China AI news related to the chat GPT. Okay, one of those. But that is play number 2. And then finally, we got to stick to earnings, baby. Walmart, they're going to have their pre-earnings run up. I think it has a decent risk to reward. It really hasn't moved too much over the last 90 to 100 days, even though they are still at a high price. And then now following Walmart's earnings, I think the chance of there being a lot of sympathies, I think that one could be very, very exciting. So going to be watching that. No plays on Walmart for now, but going to be keeping my eyes out for them. As far as everything else now, I made a couple plays on Friday. I closed out of the TZVT. This one was a biotech. Only made like $60 off of it. Closed out of NSC. We got a decent amount. It was like 100 and some change, but there was a lot of talks coming out. Again, I might want to reshort it if it goes up here, but dude, I'm telling you, it's sad. They were talking about all the lawyer cases, the past cases, the insurance that NSC has, and pretty much even if this is like the worst possible thing, the risk to NSC is very limited, not to mention even that they also have a lot of congressional protection. So we'll see, but I have a very ill will towards this one. I may want to come back, but there was that one. Then I opened up a play on WWE. I have about 200 shares. I think it's around like 89.90 or something like that. Yeah, 89.93. There was news that Vince McMahon wanted $6 billion. So remember, beginning of the year, they were already up on that buyout news. It was kind of around here. I'm in a little bit higher there, but they were saying he wanted $6 or $7 billion. It would leave him with like 30% upside on the shares, but that's just the price he threw out. So I've been liking that. I'm actually still even in my Manu plays, if you remember that. A lot of the final bids got submitted there on Friday, so we'll see how that plays out. But I think those are the only ones. I still added to the DoorDash. I'm still riding that one out there, as well as the Suave or the Shockwave as well. But that was pretty much it as far as everything else, man. It's just what we're holding. I will be closing the bonds. I was supposed to close these on Friday, but they didn't close me out yet. I want to push it a little bit, but then the idea here is close these out, either roll over to another one. We could even go for the shares one, or I'm even thinking of taking all the bond money and instead of reopening another positioning, putting it right into the yen. And that should make sense. There's a high correlation. If we get any of the fear come back, the yen acts as that safe haven, but clearly the whole story with bonds and the yen, they have been going down here, especially as the market has been going more risk on. So it sucks with the closing date, but I still do believe in the bonds. But like I'm saying, I think the yen has a little bit more risk to the downside, but the correlation could be a little bit better, and you might be a little bit safer than the bonds selling off, reacting to U.S. policy more so. So going to be watching those still in the city, the bank, the Amazon, the Google, ACAM. That one came down a little bit. I did do DoorDash yesterday as well, too. That one didn't do good on Friday, or that was Friday. Only ended up doing 50 shares, so it's definitely more manageable. Still have the banks and the other techs for upside, but remember, most of the other plays I'm in now are all the upside. I still have an old short on Qualcomm, and then that old short on Boeing, and then I think that's about it. So we will see what happens. But Chad, it should be very simple this week. Again, this was even a quick watch list. I'm looking at the time right now. I think this week is going to come down to the data. Not too many reactions over the weekend, and I think we're going to be in a good spot. And then by the time February ends, we're really going to know how people feel coming into the final Powell and to end the first quarter of the year. So I hope you're ready, but that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to remember, it's easy to get fooled if it's blatantly wrong, but imitation, that is the way they're going to get you, baby. You're dealing with a lot right now. You know what to go with, and that is what you know and not what you feel, baby. Bring it to the end, and the first quarter's almost here, Chad, and you made it. But, Chad, I love you. Are you ready? I'm excited. It's good. I don't like these long weekends. We got to get back now. Let's get game time, man. We got some data. We'll see how it moves. And horn.